Hello students. Since 1.5 months we have been interacting through this particular mode of communication, digital mode of communication. Hope this become a part and parcel of your academic life right now. You people, I think you are convenient enough to accept this particular mode and will lead to better outcome. I'm also feeling from your response. So students, I'm just today ready with the concept that I have been discussing usually. So last two classes I have been explaining that what are the major learning theories that few of my students were requested me to revise those concepts. I took two more classes to revise the concept. In unit 1, I required to complete one concept, personality and its theories, factor affecting personality. I just like to revise the concept what I have been discussing in personality chapter. Students, I told you what do you mean by personality. It is the important characteristics. It is one of the important characteristics, quality, you can say the trait, psychological, physical trait that individual contains. Trait means guna, quality, which distinguish an individual from other, or else you can say which separate, which recognize an individual from the mass. So you can say personality acts as a means of recognizing people, dealing people, interacting people, and getting response in a desired way and manner. I also told what is personality. Personality is nothing but the procedure how an individual think, behave, how an individual think, feel and behave. How a person really perceive the different forces that exist, and how he acts, how he takes positively or negatively, accordingly in what way he persuaded, in what way he respond to those forces. So personality I discussed well last class, meaning characteristics of personality. In those all the characteristics, I just like to pinpoint one characteristics, that is personality may be come up in the from the birth itself, from the day we born, or it may be built up from the surrounding. Today my topic is what are the major factors which influences the personality, which is relevant to that particular characteristics. You can follow the notes, the characteristics what I have given. So today I will explain what are the major factors which help to build up the personality of any individual. Whatever personality I have, every individual possesses a distinguished personality, distinguished characteristics, or you can say quality or trait. How it develops, how it generates, is it really developed in a fraction of minute or second, or it is developed in few days in the form of habit, in the form of practice, in the form of exerting the behavior? Yes, sometimes. Or else the characteristics of the personality that we have, that has been installed while we born from God gifted. Probably true. So whatever characteristics any individual exerts, any individual possesses, all the personalized or personality characteristics come from 5 major sources. So I will explain that forces in brief, in what way we can say that personality of an individual has been built up, developed within any individual. It has been influenced by many factors. I will explain 5 major factors from where the personality of an individual has been developed. So I just like to write the heading of the topic, that is factor affecting personality. Factors affecting personality. Factors affecting personality. So friends, as far as the factors part is concerned, so today I will explain what are the major factors. Let me go one by one. First, it is cultural factor. Cultural factors. So students, before going to the cultural forces and factors, let me tell you what is culture and how culture impacts and helps to build up the personality or characteristics of any individual. What is culture? Culture mainly can be divided into two. First, it is physical culture. Second, it is first it is physical culture. Second, it is situational, or you can say the psychological culture that we come across with. So if you will talk about physical culture is nothing but all the physical forces and features, articles or the goods that we use. Suppose our dress up, it's a culture, it's a physical culture, the way how I dress up, what our father dressed up and what our grandfather, the way how they dress up. The article we use, I can say an example that mobile phone become a culture among students. It means we frequently use, we are getting acquainted, habituated with using mobile phones. You can say the food we take, whether we are more convenient with the type of food that we eat, the type of drink we take. So it is a culture. This is something which create a culture, and that culture could probably called as physical culture. The what we wear, the article we use, the food we take, these are the physical culture that creates a kind of culture. And this also helps to build up a characteristics of an individual, the personality of an individual, what I can say. But in this particular point, I am supposed to discuss not much on the physical character, but also physical culture, but also I just try to focus much on the psychological culture, the surrounding, the culture which is unseen to us. I will explain all such cultural force which help to influence or build up the characteristics of any individual. First, a cultural force which helps to build a personality, that is we can say the language we speak. The language we speak, the type of language we use in our daily life. So that the culture of that individual has been developed, the way we speak, what we speak, the way we pronounce, the word we use in our day-to-day life, in our day-to-day social life. You can say the type of vocabs we use, whether we are using the language which is more relevant to our father, to our mother, to our family member, or we have been adopting the language of a friend. So language which creates some sort of, you can say, our characteristics. So right now you can say that speaking of English in Indian society, it create a very good culture. Speaking a very good English, it communication power, it builds up your personality, it brings to a strong personality of yours. Understand the way how you represent the thing, it is there in your brain. This leads to a very strong personality, a very charming personality. Not only English, but also your local language, Hindi as language, the way how you present the language, the how you speak, the well you communicate, this help to build up the personality of yours. Second, it is the tradition, language, I can say the tradition. How far we believe in our tradition, in what way we accept the custom which help to build up our individual's characteristics or personality. Suppose people, those who are more orthodox, people, those who are more conventional, old pattern, they follow the tradition, they follow different practices that has been instructed by our parents. So this is a cultural event which builds or we are not in the form to accept the old culture, but we adopt the culture of the changing culture. So how far you are othered, how far you are adopting your tradition, your custom, that is also an important element to build up the characteristics of or personality of any individual. How, in what way you accept the custom and tradition. Next, it is factor, I can say, that is ethics and moral. Ethics and moral. Every society possesses some ethics or certain moral within. What is moral and ethics? Moral or ethics is nothing but which differentiate an individual in between right and wrong, good and bad, correct and incorrect. So ethics and moral aspect of every individual which distinguishes or determines what is correct, what is incorrect, what is right, what is wrong, what is just or justice, what is unjust or injustice. You can say your perception, way how you accept or develop your life ethical prospect, of how far you are develop your ethical prospect, how far you develop your moral principle, moral guidelines, accordingly you behave, accordingly you work, accordingly you react. That also create a best characteristics or best personality of an individual. Next, this is ethics or moral. Next is your cultural factor. What I can say? I can say that religion and ritual. Religion and ritual, which makes an individual's personality significantly from where the religion or the, you can say, religious practice he follows, which is an integral part of everybody's life at present time. Although we are in the age of science and technology, information and technology age, but still we have a weakness towards our religion and religious practice that we so what our religious sculpture, what the scriptures, what the the Shastra, what the Bible, what the Quran teaches us, which helps to develop some sort of moral in our mind, and which leads to build up our personality, and which a deep impact on the human personality too. So what I can say? I can say different cultural factors such as language, tradition, ethics, moral, religion, ritual are some of the forces and factor. And one more thing is, you can say, value system to our life, value system of a life. These are the things, and other things are there. I don't want to go in depth of what is culture. My intention was to make you clear how this cultural factor helps an individual to set up, to build up a perfect personality in their life. As far as this factor and forces are concerned, these are important part of every culture. Every culture, so these are the part and parcel of our social life, part and parcel of our day-to-day life. So every individual are widely influenced by all such social, cultural forces and factor deeply, so that it sets one, characteristics or personality. I just try to make this thing more clear with an example that I just like to take example of two different culture. First it is Western culture, and second is traditional culture, or you can say Indian culture. You find two different person. Suppose a man from US or UK or any European country bring a person, and take a person from India, South India, Northern India or East India, wherever you like. You just observe these two persons. Definitely you will find differentiate in your behavior, differentiate in your attitude, approach. How? Why? Because they are brought up in a two different culture. They are brought up in a two different circumstance, two different value system, two different, linguistically, or two different ritual system. So this is something what once individuals, the way how he behave, how he acts, how far he respond, in what way of responding will be definitely different in case of. This is one example. Another example I just like to add, then in what way we can say that culture determines, if we observe and examine the personality of of a student or of a job seeker, those who born and brought up in a rural area, and a person or a student, those who born and brought up in an urban or you can say in a in a city area, metropolitan city area. If you will talk about, if you compare, you will definitely find two different approach from, because of differentiating the culture, differentiating the cultural value, tradition, and you can say the value system or language or whatever point you noted earlier. So what I mean, this is the best example what I can say, cultural force, cultural factor which determine this more significantly than other biological factor. I will come to the biology. This is the first important factor. First it is cultural factor. Second it is social factor. Social factor. Famous, philosopher Aristotle, I told you, man is a social animal. He very truly he said that if we separate the society from ourselves, then we don't have any existence in this globe. So society is something from where we live, where we react, where we reside, and where we interact and depend. Society. So I can say that society is something which help or which influence the behavior, attitude, and personality of any individual. Understand? So So I just try to understand or explain this particular point from the organization point of view. Understood? Every individual, whenever he or she come across with another person, individually or when he act as a member of a group or a team, or whenever he acts as a member of a department or an organization, definitely he come across with different people in the society. So his behavior is constituted, his personality definitely constituted in the form how others behave, how people behave in the surrounding. So this process, this factor is called as socialization process. What I can say? Socialization process. Socialization process. What is socialization process? Let me tell you in the organization context that socialization process is nothing but it's that process when an employee or any individual, whenever he works, he performs, he interacts with different other people in the organization. Suppose a person who is working as a clerk in a, or you can say as a clerk in a small scale or medium sized unit where the total number of employees are 200. You can say in that particular sense, in that particular organization, he is the only man who belongs to Odisha, and all other people, those who are there, those who belong to say Gujaratis. Suppose 98 people, those who are working are Gujarati, and he alone is from Odisha. So definitely you will find he will try to adopt the behavior of the people, or you can say the people, those who are working, the person who belong to Odisha, he is only the fresher one, and all others are, you can say, the experienced people. So definitely that single person will try to learn from the people, those who in his department. So this is the process. He just try to imitate the behavior, just try to observe the behavior, try to adopt the behavior, and this process here is known as socialization process. Socialization process is nothing but where an individual tries to respond, tries to adopt, accept the behavior of the individual wherever the circumstance, within the circumstance wherever he is working, from the environment what he learns. And every individual, whoever is a part of the society, he or she learns from, you can say, in classes, you people in a 50-60 students, you try to learn from your friends, you are trying to learn from your seniors, from your juniors, sometimes from the student of other college. Whenever you interact, it's a socialization process. So in organization behavior also, this social factors and process also plays an important role in order to build up the characteristics of every individual. I think you understand this cultural and social factor, very vital factor to constitute any characteristics of any individual. This is what about, you can say, social factor. Next is situational factor. Situational factor. What is situational factor? It's a very typical one, as we know that every individual will not respond accurately unless until he come across with any situation, condition. Understand? Usually, suppose a person is very shy, very silent, very sober in his nature, correct? But suppose he is alone in the jungle and a tiger will attack to that person. Will that boy will remain sober? Probably not. He definitely will try to act cruelly. So is it we can say that boy's characteristics is little bit different from its usual characteristics or personality. So sometime an individual shows its personalized behavior or personality according to the situation, circumstance, wherever he resides and performs. Sometimes individual tries to show up multiple attributes, multiple characteristics, or else you can say multiple responses, numerous type of response according to the condition and situation. The characteristics also personality, sometimes personality must be differentiate according to the situation occurs. It means typically an individual tries to modify its personality, its behavior, its characteristics from a situation to another situation. So this is also very important force or you can say factor which constituting the personality. Situational force or factor which is a very important factor for every individual, which whatever characteristics or whatever personality that you people possessing at present time, it will not continue whenever you join a company, whenever you join a corporate organization. You can't remain or show the common behavior throughout your professional life. You have to change your behavior according to the situation that is required. You must be you must have a you can say a versatile personality, a person who can act versatile personality, a person who can perform multiple tasks, a versatile personality. So what I can say, situational factor are those factors which stimulate an individual, encourage an individual out of its general tendency. Understand? Hope you understand. If not, we will discuss it later on. So cultural, social, situational factor. Next it is family factor. What I can say? Family factors. So this is the most essential one that everyone, although you are situational in your nature, but some sort of reflection you must find from your family. Family is the first organization where we tries to imitate, observe, and you can say copy everything from the different family members of. So it is the first. The parents are the first teacher. Parents are the first teacher means definitely you will find, you will try to capture, imitate. So every time, whenever we behave, the way we talk, the way we react, it must be simply alike, simply similar to the behavior of a individual's parents or sibling, or the you can say the relatives or the paternal uncle, maternal uncle, paternal grandfather, maternal grandfather. It is something whenever they behave continuously under a common roof. It is very common. It is quite common that we try to grab the characteristic of our father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, whoever he is. So definitely you can say family force is the most essential force which help to constitute the personality of any individual. This is the most commonest form, and it is find more or less as human being is a part of social factor. You can say family factor is a part of social factor, but I made this factor is a separate factor here. So family factor is quite easy to understand, not necessary. The family is something that you can say consisting of your parents, your grandparents, your brothers. You are residing, in a joint family. Then your characteristics or your personality will be little bit, you can say, orthodox, or your personality is more, you can say, rigid. Sometimes, or if you are living in a in a family where in a nuclear family, separated family, you are more flexible, you are most reliant, self-reliant, I mean, most self-reliant, less dependency, try to work independent. Sometimes the people, those who are residing in the nuclear family, they are less aggressive, but in case of the people, those who are living in the joint family, they are more aggressive, they are more competent. So good point, bad point, everything is there. So you can say these are the different family factor which influence the individual characteristics. I will tell you later on, discuss it later on if any doubt. So last point I can say, that is biological factor. Biological factor and forces. So what is biological force and factor space? Biological factor or force with something which I just made this divided into two. First, it is heredity. Second, it is physical feature. Physical factor or feature. What is heredity? It is completely a biologically transmitted process. It means whatever behavior we show, whatever response we exert, it is family force, I told, what we copy intentionally, knowingly. But every time we are not required to copy it from our immediate parents or our grandparents. Sometimes a person may exert the behavior of his father or grandfather to whom he not met throughout his life. Understand? Suppose, just take an example of my father. When I was 3 years old, my father passed away. So when I have even not understand his picture well, hazy picture I can remind, but my mother speaks that sometimes I speak as my father speaks. Sometimes I respond to different condition exactly how my father responds. So here I am not copied well to my father, but it is transmitted, hereditary, genetically transmitting. You can say individual's DNA, gene, it has been transmitted from generation to generation. So that is a biological process. That is completely biological process. So whatever personality we have and we got from the birth, so that has been transmitted from the previous generation, from the immediate parents or grandparents or super grandparents. Understand what I am talking? So that is something what you can say heredity, generation to generation, transmitting from generation to generation. What is physical factor? It's a very interesting one. That physical feature or factor is something which strongly illustrate the personality of any individual. Physical feature, how physically I see. It includes the color of my skin, that include the posture of my body, whether I am a fatty one, fatter one, or a thinner one. It approaches the way how my height, my facial expression, the beautiness of an individual, that is something which is very highly required, how one appears to public, how one appears to people. So physical appearance also plays quite important role in the setting or building of the individual's characteristics or personality. Yes, it's a very important at the present time. This is very important. You can say uh, uh, factor which determines the personality. Example, how? Usually people speak, if you have a very good height, 6 feet, 5 feet 9, 5 feet 10, 6 feet 2 inch, that means you have a very good personality. Your height determines your personality. Understand? So, this is in case of both the gender. Girls are also, they are very, sad sometimes, girls, that they are not having good height and they are being ignored in different sectors, different stages, different circumstances. Understand? Physically, if one is fit, if possesses a very good muscular body, so he must have a very good charming personality that he can show to the people. Understand? At the same time, I can say the professional look. Why we maintain professional look at a professional organization where we work? So professional means formal look, having tie, shoes, and proper dress code. Is that something what? Physical force or physical factor, which also a biological factor. Sometimes we earn this from our parents, grandparents, how our height, our weight, our skin color, our body posture, everything built up of our body, that has been decided and determined by our parents or our grandparents sometimes. So this is also a biological factor which determines the personality of every individual. These are some of the factors which determines you. If you like, you can follow different books. In different books it has been given different, it has been explained differently. Follow books, prepare separate note. I will offer you note. Use my note. Follow some other books and prepare a note, and you will try to understand this particular concept, personality and factor affecting personality. Well, hope this class help you to understand how personality could be determined, decided. Next class, I will explain what are the major theories of personality. I will explain this in the next class. Thank you very much. Thank you.